Hello, happy Gemini full. Start to realize the substances are a crutch. The television shows are a crutch. Entertainment at large is a crutch. Music can be a crutch. Other people, one of the biggest crutches there is. Food, crutch. I'm an emotional eater, classically. Mars and Taurus in the 12th. That can be one of my largest undoings, okay? Self-destruction through food. There's people with heavy Libra energy out there. Even some heavy Aries energy that thinks it requires companionship at every waking hour. Always on the phone, never hanging up. If you do hang up, you're on the phone with somebody else talking about God knows what. You know, back in the day, we used to have instant messengers. I'm dating myself. But I was always connected to my instant messengers if I could. I loved instant messaging. And I still have dreams about instant messaging, honestly, like little Yahoo windows or MSN windows. But when the internet began being a part of our lives, that's when we became tethered in a whole new way to likes, affirmations from the internet, and in some cases, we got addicted to fighting or being a troll. I was a troll shitposter from way back in the day. It's something I've always enjoyed. So, you better believe when guys ask me for foot photos or whatever the fuck they want me to sell them, I get this, none of my content is about that, but it still happens to me. And I'm saying it because there's women watching. And I know you all get it too. Where's your OnlyFans? Whatever. None of my content has anything to do with that. But still it happens. The most intellectual of people get roped into that one. But even so, the most intellectual of people can rationalize why they need somebody else to do something else. The codependency. I know some of the smartest people who can't stand on their own 2 feet because they're getting a divorce. They've lost all their friends because of their habits. And they're stunned. They don't know how to function without somebody being their assistant or guide through life. That super intelligent people get wrapped up in this codependency, and it's not necessarily all about people pleasing, although that is a symptom wrapped up in this. The inability to make your own decisions, the inability to think for yourself without checking with somebody first, or the inability to act at all because you're too worried about what anybody else might say, will lead you way far outside of your personality, your core, your individuality, which is a huge, huge deal with Pluto and Aquarius, okay? So there's a lot of people out there acting like a whole other sign than their rising sign. They might be expressing their their 7th house instead of their 1st house. Their whole identity is based off of something else. Or maybe you're creating a personality to be liked and nobody can sense who you truly are because you're being inauthentic. It's not sustainable. If you're doing something to impress somebody else, inauthentic, you shouldn't be operating outside of your own likes and dislikes. But it can be hard to see yourself and thusly be codependent. This sort of thing leads to resentment, inevitably, because nobody has your back like you do. Nobody can understand your needs or see from your perspective quite like you do. You're the only person that's been with you 100% of the time that you've been alive. It's like, have you ever been on a road trip with somebody? Or in my case, I used to think about this a lot, mission trips, right? I was a missionary as a teenager, but all of us on that trip had different experiences. We were all on the same plane together, but all of us had different experiences with the locals, with the work that we did, with the food. Some people got sick, some people didn't. So, codependency. My oven's going off. Hold on. I didn't think I was going to be talking for 10 minutes. Okay, I can set that for a little bit longer. 7 minutes. Okay. You be cooking. I got some Brussels sprouts in the oven. Making meal preps. Anywho. So we all have different perspectives. Everything is emotionally relative. The universe is so plastic, right? So just by nature of having somebody else around you, it changes your personality. If you're not used to operating alone, you don't really know who you are at your 0 point, your core. You don't have that baseline. It's okay to be in that place, but that's not the be-all end-all of interactions with people. There is this thing called interdependency. Divine feminine energy is interdependent. Divine masculine energy is interdependent. Admitting we need each other, but your responsibility is to take care of you for you. My responsibility is to take care of me for me. We have individual personalities. We choose to be in each other's space. We communicate. We are very articulate with each other. We have fighting rules. We have togetherness rules. And we respect each other's autonomy. Rarely with codependency do you have autonomy built in. It's almost always not okay to be yourself in those situations. For my case, one of the examples, I was really young when I decided to be vegan. I was 11, and looking back on that, that's wild. But none of my family understood the choices that I was making. And in fact, I had to fight tooth and nail to have food around the house that I could eat. So I was always very independent. My sister, on the other hand, hope she doesn't mind me saying this, she and my mother were very enmeshed. They were sleeping in the same bed. They had to constantly check in with each other. My mother's horribly codependent. She does not know, she's one of those people, doesn't know what her baseline is without somebody else around her to help her think. She's very lonely right now in life because she's simultaneously asked for way too much attention from people and pushed them away in a dangerous fashion. You can't follow people with that dynamic. You can't go down where they're going. People can't scoop you up if your emptiness is so large within that it takes precedence over everything that you have inside you. When I was in my codependent phase, I did not know better. I remember waking up out of it though. And I didn't even know what the sensations in my body were like after 12 years of marriage to be considered horny, right? I heard that word and I was like, oh, that's that sensation. I was in such an abusive relationship that the sexual intercourse was coerced or outright rape a lot of times. Like, I was not having spontaneous lovemaking with love as the point. It was fucking most of the time. Pardon my French. This is real shit. This is real life. And I got married with that guy because I was getting pursued and love bombed. And I thought that was what it was supposed to look like. And it turned out that I wasn't really, it took me a long time to wake up and see it because of how traumatized I was from my childhood. But I was just a body. Because at the end of our marriage, my ex-husband said, "You are so hard to get to know. I feel like I don't know you at all." And we'd been together for 12 years. I think some of my followers know me better than that. Honestly. You guys understand my baselines because I show you what they are and I'm real about it, okay? I was not as authentic with myself as I was, as I am now. Back then, in my 20s, I didn't know who I was, so I couldn't be authentic. You know? There's a lot of that going around. You have to find out what your baseline is, but in order to find out what your baseline is and lean towards interdependence, you have to deprogram your mind. Television shows, Disney, all of these things, that perception of romance, preconceived notions of romance, more like, is all codependently coded. Somebody will rescue me, coded. It's not going to work like that. You are who's going to rescue you because you've been with yourself 100% of the time. The divine feminine, the divine masculine operate knowing that there's nobody here to rescue you but you. And you can't bring that shit into a relationship. In my next relationship, when I'm blessed with that interdependent style relationship, I'm so excited. I can't wait for it. I choose to have my own bedroom. I choose to have my own space. I'm saying that right now, I'm manifesting it for the universe. I will have my own space. I need a bed in there. I need an art space. I need a place to decompress because my aura has to be felt by myself in order for me to come back together as a union. I know this about myself. I need a she shed or something where we can, visit each other if we want to. But I want you to have your space and I want me to have my space because without that bit of independence, we can't be interdependent. I don't want to be enmeshed. So let's see if these Brussels sprouts are getting done yet. Cool. All right. I need to stir those, but I'm going to give them a couple more minutes and then close this. I think I've made my point, really. Interdependency is where we're all pretty much going with this new community, with Pluto and Aquarius. Our understanding of the current communal lines or current society are all shifting and all changing. And I love that for us because the individual will be celebrated while being able to love at a deeper level than we've ever loved before. I'm making that a prediction right now. Love in our society, our conceptions of love will lean more towards looking like the language of a polyamorous person. I'm not saying that it's Aquarius, so that's entirely possible. I'm not saying that we're going to go towards polyamory as the whole group. But the type of communication style that you have in a polyamorous relationship, to me, is top tier. There's so much discussion about having feelings without taking on the responsibility of somebody else's emotions. Being able to be independent, being able to communicate, hey, this is what I'm feeling, and creating a symbiosis where nobody has to feel threatened because there's an emotion being expressed. This is what I'm talking about, interdependence. It's a beautiful fucking thing. So that's my prediction. We're leaning more towards that, and codependency is slowly dying out. You will be more and more uncomfortable as time goes on. You won't be able to withstand it anymore. This is my prediction for the full moon in Gemini, but also the future. So we better learn how to be authentic now. We better learn how to be vulnerable now. Vulnerability might look like refusing a dish somebody cooked you because it doesn't meet your dietary needs. People got to learn sometime that you've made a change and it's for your own good. Social disappointment is going to happen before anything because they're used to you caving early. They're used to your bad boundaries. Good boundaries is what interdependent people celebrate and live and die by. Codependent people talk themselves out of their righteous no's and give you more surface level yeses. Pay attention. Okay, so I'm gonna go. I've said enough for now. I love you guys. We'll do emoji cards soon. I don't know when. I gotta work tomorrow. And I needed to focus on this website. So that's about to beep again. I love you guys. I gotta go. Please take care of yourselves. Interdependency is where it's at in the future.